It was Ford's day on Saturday. Who will fight back in race 2? We get underway. A good clean start. This is going to be a good battle between Winterbottom and Whincup. Winterbottom will take it through to turn 1.
And Stephen Richards got a scorcher. He jumped right up to position 3, I believe, on the run up to turn 4. He has. Winterbottom, Whincup, Richards, Holdsworth covering down the inside with Rick Kelly on him.
Crunch between Russell Ingall and Fabian Coulthard. Just a little bit of push and shove in the mid-pack. Up to turn 7. That's the right-hander. Single file, peel out to the Dunlop sweeper. Crazy stuff. Turn 9, everything happens here. Holdsworth continues to defend his position from Rick Kelly. Little bit of contact mid-corner there for Shane Van Gisbergen and Todd Kelly.
And it's always difficult to race hard with cold tyres, cool brakes, and everybody trying to scramble for position. Anything you can grab now in terms of track position is gold, but it's hard to achieve without sometimes risking the car.
I'll tell you who's dropped off the radar was Craig Lowndes. Started from 3rd, he's in 8th. Now let's see them come up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's Lowndes, position 8. In front of him is Will Davison. Behind him is Mark Scaife.
The reason for that, Matty, I've just come out of the garage. He bogged it down at the start, had to get off the throttle, dump the clutch again. That's the reason.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that will have helped Stephen Richards' cause as well. Here it is again in replay. Zinger replay shows that the 2 blokes up front did an awesome job, but Holdsworth and Lowndes both stood still and got swamped by Stevie Richards and then one of the Jim Beam cars. I think it was Will Davison. Isn't that an awesome shot? In fact, it was Stephen Johnson. Here's a run. Lowndes down the inside now of Davison. Scaife wants to buy into that too.
Boy, that was clean. Lined that up from way back. I'll tell you who else got a pretty good start was Russell Ingall. He made up 2 spots. He was trying to thread the needle left, right and centre. In the end, Coulthard shut him out. So second time around.
Flat tyre, front left for Paul Morris, and he'll have to come to the lane. 2 tough days for Morris. Car 67, the super cheap auto car. Fastest lap so far, a 23.5 for Winterbottom. He's got margin, just on a second. Whincup, Richards. They've got a little bit of breathing space. It's that next group that's a bit of an angry pack at the moment. It involves Stevie Johnson, Lee Holdsworth, Rick Kelly. Rick was really pleased with the performance of the car later in the race yesterday. Obviously, there was that unfortunate situation between he and his teammate Paul. And I mentioned earlier in the broadcast today that I thought that Eric Pender, who's taken on the team management role at the HSV dealer team, really handled that situation well. And it was interesting that Rick even said in his television interview earlier that the team sat down. They know that it wasn't a good thing to happen late in the race. Talk it through, sort it out, get on with business. It was a smart way to play it. Whincup's done a fast split to the second sector of 49.5. And what about the performance of his car late in the race yesterday, and how clever was that strategy to recover from what could have been disastrous with what was essentially going to be a flat battery, and then shutting down the electricals when they had an alternator problem, some sort of an intermittent drama. And then they dealt themselves back into the game, and the tyre performance on their car late in the stint was fantastic, and that was the thing that hurt the Ford Performance Racing cars just a little for both Stevie Richards and for Mark Winterbottom. Late in the race, they didn't have enough overall balance, and Ingall's out of business on the front straight, and that's such a shame.
So both the super cheap auto cars find trouble. Did he get it back going again? He's stuck just on the left. No, he's still stuck there. the board, safety car.
Such a shame. Those guys have worked absolutely flat to the boards to get the car out there. Brett's is on the spot there with Nigel, but Nigel's on the radio. Andrew Jones going up the inside there of Russell, and by that stage he's already got a disabled car and he's just moved it off to the left side of the road. The safety car's out as Russell tries to figure out how to get the Holden fired up again or what the issue might be.
While he does so, we will take a break. Mark Winterbottom is the race leader. Jamie Whincup, by the way, on that last flying lap, posted the fastest time, 1:23.241. You're watching race 2 of the Clipsal 500 here on 7. The field is still snaking its way around the streets of the Adelaide Parkland circuit with the WPS Chrysler safety car about to pull away. The lights are out on top of the Chrysler, so it will veer off to the right into pit lane right now. Mark Winterbottom has control of the field.
One of the Jim Beam cars has peeled off, it seems. Now, it's interesting. As the safety car came out, Jason Bright took the opportunity to come to the lane and put fuel on, and it meant that he went to the back of the train, but he was kind of back there anyway. He was up to like 23rd. He's down again now to 26th or something, but it means that he's grabbed some fuel 4 laps in, sort of puts 10 or 12 litres back in the car. It might just help him in a strategy play later in the race.
And that was Will Davison who came in. Stephen Johnson's right there in 4th. Garage.
Yeah, boys, the reason for that, I just spoke to team manager Adrian Burgess. He says they held the lights on the line so long, they've actually fried the clutch.
So the order, as they bring it around to turn 9, Courtney.
He's been complaining of handling imbalances as well, and he's already brushed the wall a little bit at turn 8. So that car doesn't appear to be happy at the moment.
Mark Winterbottom leads. Jamie Whincup second. Stephen Richards third. Stephen Johnson fourth. Courtney still being aggressive. Lee Holdsworth, 5th. Rick Kelly, 6th. Lowndes, Scaife, Greg Murphy, Fabian Coulthard make up the top 10. On board with Team Vodafone. This is the ride down to the sweeper. Greg Murphy is posting some pretty good sector times. A few cars back, he's 9th.
Gives us a bit of a look at the new lightweight, high-tech cameras that the cars are carrying now for the judicial process. They can download the data from the car and the images from the car quickly, taking a bit of weight out of the whole system. The car we're riding with has the sequential gearbox, and we mentioned yesterday in the coverage that more of the Fords have this sequential gearbox. You watch Jamie at work here, just a pull of the lever, sprung loaded. From 5th back to 2nd for turn 4. Briefly on the rev limiter, 2nd gear, staying in 2nd for 5. On the rev limiter briefly again, just bops it. 6, and you climb the ripple strip. 7, use the ripple strip on the exit. 3rd, 4th, and so on as Will Davison gets going in that. And it's still slipping. I was going to say they won't have been able to change the clutch in that period of time, but they may have made an adjustment.
Nigel Barclay, it's been a big weekend for Supercheap Auto. You've been the busiest crew in pit lane, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately this race hasn't, or this day hasn't started as we wanted, with Russell having a slide into that nasty old turn 8, and then the race, he said it's an electrical problem, so you know it can only be contributed to the accident this morning. And then Paul's car, it looks like it's split an oil line or something, so not the sort of thing you want to happen on a Sunday.
All right, Nigel, I know your luck's going to get better, mate. All the best.
Oh, it is. Thanks very much.
There has been a really big mover in the field from 23rd up to 11th. And just set the fastest time of the race, 1:23.08, is this man right here, car number 1, Toll HRT's Garth Tander.
Very, very good speed, but now he's cleared out from the group behind, but you can see the wall of cars in front of him, so that's the puzzle that he has to unlock. How to carry that speed and then make decent passing manoeuvres that don't endanger the car and keep clicking him towards the front, and that's really difficult on these sorts of circuits. Look how much of that curbing they use on the exit of turn 7. Turn 8, little dab of the brake. Good brake performance. He's going to have a look at Courtney. Done. And James made it easy.
That was for 10th spot. GT predicted that there'd be a few more safety cars in this one. We had to wait a long time.
See the
race 1.
Slide there from Courtney as he exited the left-hander.
Will Davison is...
Great job, mate. T10, just pick them up one by one. Have a drink.
He's unbuckling and he's jumping out. The Jim Beam racer. And the encouragement continues over the team radio for Garth Tander. Matty Nilsson just saying, great job, you're up to 10th. Keep it going.
That's Greg Murphy we're looking at, just in the foreground. A little margin now for Mark Winterbottom, 1.1 seconds back to Jamie Whincup.
sweet.
Yeah, not wrong. It's certainly not the best way to end a weekend. Yeah, very frustrating. Strange, it's just a clutch slip issue. It sort of wasn't from the start. Normally, if you get a bit of clutch slip off the line, it comes back. And as soon as I took off from the lights, there was just pretty much no clutch. As soon as I tried to go, and then the slippage just got worse and worse and worse for about 3 laps, and then I lost complete clutch feel and absolutely zero drive. So actually, funny enough, in the warm-up, I felt something this morning, but I thought it might have been me. So it's pretty shattering.
Hard luck. Thanks, mate.
Yeah. You'll be right.
So that leaves Stephen Johnson out there as the sole Jim Beam racer. He's in 4th. He just did a 1:23.03. The timing monitor has been lighting up as they come across that control line. So they're all finding good pace right now. Edging towards the 122s. Lee Holdsworth holding down 5th position.
Both the Dick Johnson Racing and the Gary Rogers Motorsport outfits are tantalisingly close to a breakthrough, aren't they? Stephen and Will, even though he's had some tough luck today, Lee Holdsworth had a win at Oran Park last year for Lee, but they're just a whisker away from getting right at the front of the field. Very encouraging. Good to see them up there. One of the HRT cars having a lunch down the inside. I suspect it's the continuing march from Garth Tander down there into turn 9. It is. I think Garth has actually put the move on Greg Murphy. Rick Kelly climbing up on the ripple strip into turn 13, the second last corner, just trying to hold line, hold position.
Yeah, so Tander is now officially 9th, which puts him behind his teammate Mark Scaife.
Tander's just done a 1:22.9, passing cars on the way. That's pretty flash. That is bumpy. Climbing across the curbing on the right-hand side at turn 4. Not a lot of speed through these corners, only 80 kilometres an hour right in the middle of the corner. Up to 130 here, back to 80. Back up to 130, back to 80. So a very similar rhythm all around that end of the circuit. And now it's 235, 240 kilometres an hour on the run to turn 8. Staying in 6th.
Gives us a pretty good view too. 2 cars up the road of Craig Lowndes and Rick Kelly. Look at them. Last time round they did exactly the same thing. Kelly stuck it over to the right-hand side, played the defensive card.
Fastest sector split to the second sector, Andrew Jones in the Team BOC hold. He's 13th at the moment. He just made a front anti-roll bar change on that car to stiffen it up to get rid of some oversteer in the rear, stiffening the front up a little to compensate.
We can see him blocking, mate. We can see him blocking, so keep your head cool.
Message to Craig Lowndes. His new man on the radio this year is Jeremy. Forming a little freight train here, and Lowndes up the inside, used all the curbing to get it done, and Scaife runs with him. It'll be side by side, and Rick just gets out of it. That was where he had some strife.
Now the former teammates find themselves battling together. Garth Tander went with Mark Scaife to try and get around Rick Kelly. He got a bit taily in the process, and now it's Tander versus Rick. You just see that one coming. Lowndes did not mess about on that move. He was patient for 2 laps. And Scaife, in the blink of an eye, took advantage as well. Great reaction time.
Courtney was having a nibble at the back of Greg Murphy too, just as they turned in to the hairpin at 9. He didn't get it done. In fact, he lost a little bit of ground, so he had to probably pull the nose of the car back out there.
Okay, mate, try stitching the car up a little bit.
That was the message to Mark Scaife, try and stiffen the car up a little bit. They're talking about anti-roll bar controls in the car. Order is Winterbottom Wind Cup Richards, Johnson, Holdsworth, Lowndes, Scaife, Kelly. And this little battle that we're focused on at the moment's a beauty. Mark Scaife.
Where does he make that adjustment?
Just to the left of...
he would wait for, say, down this part of the track?
Oh, sorry, yeah, he does it where it's quiet. He can't make the adjustment when there's load on the car. David Swenson, Mike Henry there, further to the right, Matt Nilsson. They're looking at all the data numbers. They're looking at the behaviour of the car. They're looking at their individual drivers, Mark Scaife and Garth Tander. Often each driver has his own preferences as to how they've set the car, but yes, in a straight line where there's a little bit of time to think, and when there's no lateral, that is sideways load on the car. You can't do it in the middle of a corner.
There's 5 cars in that group. Courtney's at the rear of this little battle pack. Then Fabian Coulthard and Andrew Jones is up to 13th position, started from 18th. So he's pushing through well. Also for Team BOC, Mark Winterbottom has a half a second lead over Jamie Whincup, Stephen Richards and Stephen Johnson. They get all 4 forwards and Lee Holdsworth leading the Holden charge. Slip and slide by Todd Kelly around turn 7. Behind him is Paul Dumbrell, Tony D'Alberto, Cam McConville. This is the front of the field though. The Orcon Ford Credit Falcon. Frosty just clipped the little tile wall there on the inside. Nothing to unsettle the car. There was a little look. Little open of the door, but he closed it back. And a lock-up. So a couple of little mistakes for Winterbottom will have Jamie Whincup's eyes wide open.
Whincup is also complaining of some elevated water temperature as well. So because he's tucked in under the back of Winterbottom, you're going to have to be a little bit careful there. He doesn't start to see some big numbers, bigger numbers. He's within striking distance now. He's just starting to make those moves that signal I'm coming. And it's that pressure that's taking Mark to a point of discomfort in his car. And you think, oh, I've got to find a heartbeat later on the brakes here, and it's not available, and the car just understeers wide, locks the brake. This is where it happened on the previous lap.
Doing a great job, Jamie. Doing a great job, mate. Keep it up.
Here with Jamie Whincup and listen to one of these V8 supercars on this great racetrack.
fly above the Clipsal 500 race 2 on lap 17. You're looking at positions 1 and 2. The top of the screen, Mark Winterbottom. Car number 5, Jamie Whincup, double 8. And Whincup has a sniff.
Winterbottom's been under pressure, and the body language in the Ford Performance Racing Orcon Ford suggests that he's right at his limit now. Greg Murphy's in strife too. I think somebody gave him a whack. They're changing tyres, and they've also got a steering arm problem, and they're taking the opportunity as a discretionary stop to put fuel in it. Doesn't count for the compulsory stop. I believe there may have been contact with James Courtney. We'll try and verify that for you.
Send it to the stewards, please. Sick of that fucking idiot.
So, in fact, I know for sure now that there was definitely a problem between James and Greg, because I've heard the radio conversations, and here's why.
The Zinger replay down at turn 9 showing side-by-side, squeeze, push, shove, damage to the sprint gas racer. Look at that contact right in the driver's side door. Driver's side mirror. And Murph is right at braking point.
Oh, Rick, a big front lock up, and he's gone down the escape road at turn 9.
And that's why he's back at 12th position.
It's all happening.
You just get the feeling there's been a couple of tiny, minute little errors from Mark Winterbottom as he's under attack from Whincup. He's managed to gather it all back together and continue with this race lead. It's only half a second. In fact, it's 0.4 of a second. Look at that. On lap 15, Whincup had the ascendancy. On lap 16, Winterbottom fought back. So they went 17, 18.
Jamie's been talking about keeping an eye on the water temperature as well, because he's tucked so far up under the back of the preceding car. That will be affecting his brake performance, his front aero balance, and the water temperature in the engine.
Race in 2 between Winterbottom and Whincup. Not too far away is Stephen Richards.
He's looking.
Here we go. Turn 4, Dallin. Got the job done.
Winterbottom ended up surrendering that one. You can tell that initially he kind of looked and thought, no. There was real intent on the part of Jamie then, and remember that there was a little bit of contact yesterday. Safety cars being prepared for an issue here, and
Shane
car
Price.
number 11, Shane Price, looks like he's had a significant failure there at turn 11. There's oil everywhere, and that car's pulled off to the left-hand side of the road. I did hear him say a few moments earlier that he thought the car had dropped a cylinder, so it may relate to that issue. And the computer shows full course yellow, safety car is out. And there's oil from about here, all the way from turn 9. You'll see it. And there it is, rushes off to the left, and that was Shane's car on the left side of the road. WPS safety car about to grab the field with the order: Winterbottom, Whincup, Richards, Johnson, Holdsworth, Lowndes, Scaife, Tander, Courtney and Andrew Jones in the top 10.
Now that they've crossed the control line, the order has been corrected because Jamie Whincup has the race lead. Field to be compressed.
So that's 20 laps complete, Jamie. 20 laps complete, mate. Doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, I made
nice move with that. You had his number for the whole race, mate. So hopefully when we go green, we can nice and smoothly gap in.
So just as Whincup got hold of the race lead, the whole field behind him will bunch up for a restart of the Clipsal 500.
So Murphy comes back in again, and they'll do further work on that to try and find out what the issue is and how they rectify it.
Right front feels like it's bloody on the ground every time I hit the brakes. Just locked up the right front. Something's damaged in there.
See, they put the incompressible jacks under the car. They call them stubbies just to make sure that it's safe. And they'll be looking at the upper and lower control arms and perhaps the steering arm on the car.
Yep.
And it's comfortable from this distance. But when you're under one of these cars and that brake rotor and hub area would have temperatures somewhere in the realm of about 800 or more degrees C, don't need much imagination to realise that it's pretty dangerous and difficult work under there.
Just keep to the right of the exit of 11. It's your natural line anyhow. Just keep to the right. Round about turn 11. It's going to be at least another lap. That car's not in the truck yet, so give it a go. We need to. We'll come in and have another go at it.
single-seater racer herself in Formula 3, you have to wonder how the conversation in the Tander household goes. Steak for dinner, dear? Yes, I was getting a bit of oversteer.
Still under full course yellow Paul Dumbrell. The Autobahn entry is in pit lane with big problems.
In pit lane too, Matty, with Ross Stone. Ross, you saw the incident with James Courtney and Greg Murphy. What are your thoughts?
Oh, well, James didn't really gain from it. You don't want to see that sort of thing happening, but sometimes you can go in there a bit hot. But yesterday, after the Winterbottom and Wind Cup incident, it's pretty okay. It's okay.
So you don't jump on the radio and say, listen, just cool it down a little bit. Is this the sort of racing you want to see from your boy?
Oh, we spent a fair bit of time before this race talking about the best way to go forward in it. And, from now on, we want to see nice, good, clean race.
Thanks, Ross.
Okay, no worries, Daniel.
Yeah, Ross Stone.
There was a fair bit of unrest in the paddock last night about the moves that were questioned in yesterday's race. And, Ross is subtly saying there that, well, I saw it yesterday, and if it worked yesterday, it works today. And that'll be something that I'm sure the paddock will continue to debate for a while.
Thomas Mazzera is going to have a busy year, isn't he?
Yes, I would not want his job.
Restart, off we go. Wind Cup is our leader. Winterbottom is second. Stephen Richards, Stephen Johnson, high, bounce. Through they go, 1 and 2. The centre chicane. Lee Holdsworth, he's 5th. Then it's Lowndes, Scaife and Tander. Courtney is behind this man that you're riding with, Garth Tander. Back through the field, Fabian Coulthard's in 11th position. The Glenford's Racing entry.
Holdsworth covering Lowndes here, 5th and 6th. Can't wander over the road too much. Both the HRT cars were side by side then too. Wander around too much, you can expose yourself to the next bloke.
Garth got in that position there off Scaife. So Tander now moves up in the 7th. Remember, he started 23rd. Heading towards the compulsory pit stop window.
And that was Andrew Jones having a look up the inside of James Courtney. Couldn't quite get it done.
Well, Jeff Gresh from Tasman Motorsport, Greg Murphy's having a tough time out there with James Courtney. Happened yesterday and it's happened again today.
Yeah, Mark, you would think after yesterday, and I guess the steward's talking to him, and he would have reflected on yesterday, but obviously he hasn't. So maybe it goes to show the mental capacity of the guy that's driving. But it's disappointing because we weren't the fastest, but we were sneaking up. We made some improvement, but look, there's not much we can do about it now. We're just trying to try and finish if we can in the best possible position.
All right, Jeff, all the best, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah, and finishing now is what it's all about as you pay points further down the list. The Toll HSV car 16 of Dumbrell has got a left front problem. Something in the upright at the moment. They are replacing the shock. So as soon as I know more, boys, I'll give it to you. But that's what they're replacing at the minute.
That's for car 16, Paul Dumbrell's Autobahn car. So he's the man in focus, isn't he, James Courtney?
Let's have a look at lap speed here. Whincup 23.4, Winterbottom 24 even, Richards 24 even, Johnson 24, Holdsworth 4.3, Lowndes 4.3, Tander 4.2. Courtney's in the 3s as well, 3.9. He's having a look at Scaife. Not 100% sure why at this point, but the Autobahn entry of Paul Dumbrell is going to get a drive-through penalty if it rejoins. Chase that story.
Stephen Richards is tagged right up behind his FPR stablemate of Mark Winterbottom, and Jamie Whincup has just pulled away. Last time round it was 2.1 seconds. Jamie is now approaching the main straightaway, so this will give us an indication. 2.1 seconds was the difference. He crosses the control line right there. What is it this time? 2.74 seconds.
Thanks, Matty. Just down here with Paul Dumbrell. Paul, a problem with the left front. We think it's a shock. What happened?
Yeah, not quite sure really, Daniel. It's we were going quite well there, and just all of a sudden under the safety car, I just felt tracking a little funny. We've come in and realised we've got a front suspension drama.
They've also just mentioned over the radio you've got a drive-through penalty now. Do you know what that's from?
No, not at all, but I'm happy to serve as many of those now. Unfortunately, that race is over, and we just got to put some laps and get some more testing in today.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks a lot.
And I can add to that, it's for a refuelling infringement. That's all I know. But if he does go back out, he'll have a drive-through for a refuelling infringement.
Pretty much just like you said, makes no difference now.
Gee, that's good pace here from Whincup again. 2.7 seconds, pulling a margin after a restart. Tremendous pace yesterday. for a while there, he dropped off our radars because of what we thought was going to be a delay that would put him out of business with that electrical drama. And he came fighting back, and the pace that car had late in its stint was the impressive part. But you've got to look at it now and say, well, it's not just at the end of the run tyre-wise, it's generally 1 minute 23.3 for Jamie Whincup.
And here's James Courtney on the Zinger replay down at turn 9. He'll get this position off Mark Scaife. So Courtney up to 8th. Compulsory pit stop window now open.
He's got some pace again because he's actually beginning to claw back at Garth Tander, who had massive pace early.
Just elaborating, Neil, on that refuelling infringement, it was because their fire marshal, which is a must-to-have when you're refuelling, was too slow to get out of the garage.
Yeah, I knew it'd be for one of those sorts of peripheral issues, so that explains that. Car number 14, Cam McConville, I think, has got some issues as well. Try and come up with an answer for you on that. Someone's given him a whack, and I think there's some damage on that car, and they'll put tyres on it. But Andrew Jones in the sister car is 10th at the moment. Meantime, Courtney, we're looking backwards from Garth Tander's car. Missed a gear then. Did you hear that? He actually grabbed a neutral on the upshift, I think. Sounded like it. Might have been the rev limiter. But this is a great battle, isn't it? Okay, so the 2 lead cars are in for service.
Gone in straight away. Whincup and Winterbottom. Both tyres. Both in and out cleanly.
It's basically what they did yesterday. Yesterday, Winterbottom came in lap 28. Whincup came in 27. You can see the numbers down there on the bottom left-hand side of the screen as to what lap we're on now. Interesting thing there is that Whincup had fresh air and was bolting down the road. Didn't really necessarily have to do that, but they've got a recipe that worked for them yesterday. Just on that refuelling breach for car number 16, Paul Dumbrell, not only is it a pit lane drive-through penalty, but there's also a $5,000 fine attached to it. So the news keeps getting worse there for that one. Stephen Richards is in, and I think Lowndes has followed as well.
That's right, that means that Lee Holdsworth is the race leader. There he is, Stephen Johnson 2nd, 3rd Tander, 4th Courtney.
Oh, they had to hold Stephen because Rick was coming in. There was a very good stop efficiency-wise, but he got stuck.
Jason, get the mirror.
Well, not good news for Tasman Motorsport. Their day continues. Jason Richards coming into pit lane, turned too wide and hit pit wall, came to a stop.
Oh. So they've done 888 cars the other way round again. So they've put fuel in Craig's car. They did tyres on Whincup's car. So Craig's now fueled to the end.
There's Cam McConville, the WOW Racing Team BOC Commodore.
So they'll run the fuel down on Lowndes' car and watch the strategy, and then at some point they'll put some fresh boots on that car and make some pace. Step up to former HRT cars for Andrew Jones, Cam McConville. In fact, Andrew's come in now and he's doing tyres as well. So's Lee Holdsworth, who was the race leader, now leaves James Courtney in control of the race. Tander, tyres.
That's pretty handy 1:32.
Scaife stayed out. Fabian Coulthard's up to third. Todd Kelly. Greg Murphy, despite his woes, still on the lead lap and up there as well.
This is Shane Van Gisbergen in car number 9. Back to Team Vodafone.
Incidentally, when the tyres have been done, the green light in behind the windscreen is switched off, and the fuel's been done, that orange or red light is done. So
back to back for Lowndes.
Yeah, and if you look again at yesterday's form, quite a few people did this, although yesterday for Lowndes, they actually had a bit of a gap between their tyre and fuel stops. But they've just chosen to get them both done and dusted, and then just get on with the racing.
So he is now going to the end. On a Zinger replay, the sprint gas racer of Jason Richards. As Brett's mentioned, he had some trouble in pit lane. Now he finds himself pointing the wrong way at turn 9.
Now, was that on his own or was there some assistance? Todd Kelly was the other car lurking in behind at the time.
This is the pit lane incident. Look at this. He wants to go right.
David Coulthard did that here in a Formula 1 race a long time ago. I think... No, I'm not going to have a stab at the year, but anyway, it happened.
I thought you were going to have a stab at the driver. So Craig Lowndes is loaded up, ready to go to the end. Jamie Whincup, on corrected order, will maintain the race lead. James Courtney, Mark Scaife, Fabian Coulthard, Greg Murphy, and Kane Scott in the Team Kiwi car, yet to pit.
Fastest lap of the race. A new one for Rick Kelly, 1:22.8.
Morris's car 67 gives Jamie some room down at turn 9.
He's a couple of laps down, Paul, because of the woes that he had at the start of the race. They're preparing for James Courtney, and here he is. And it's Mark Scaife that's wandered in there with him. Fastest sector splits for both Stephen Richards and Shane Van Gisbergen. Van Gisbergen's just done the fastest split to the second sector. And the new fastest lap, Stephen Richards, 1:22.5. We're seeing very good pace here.
Steve Johnson gets a touch up from Garth Tander, who gets a rub along from James Courtney as he went through.
Yes. He's taken the bit of the bumper and the taillight out of Tander's car. Here it is, whack. Tander couldn't get it stopped. Almost certainly get a penalty for that, I'd say. Here it is from James' car. That's Garth. Oh, it could have been a lot worse.
It just happens so quickly down at 9, doesn't it? They come off that maximum speed, 8. They all line up because they know there's room there. Now they're dicing down towards 8. Thompson in the PWR. Through correction, that's a Team BOC car of Andrew Jones.
Yeah, he's having a vigorous battle there with Mark Scaife. Murphy's actually leading the race.
Can you tell me what's wrong?
Well, the field on the whole gone over centre or something not right.
That's Garth.
Right front. Let's see the field stop and have a look at it.
You can just hear
It sounded like Tander.
Fuel stop.
Whincup's done the fastest lap of the race, a 1:22.3. So Tander's got troubles again. Murphy is the race leader. Whincup is next in the queue.
Seconds of fuel. Jack it up. Jack the car up.
That, by the way, is a new lap
Stubby's
record.
under it and have a look. Stubby's under it. Slow it down.
Let's focus on this drama. You can hear the disappointment in Garth Tander's voice.
And the signal there to cut the engine.
Finish refueling it. Put the wheel back on. Let's get it back inside. Turn it off, Garth. Slow Right, drop it down. On go, Jacks. On go, Jacks. Get it inside, please.
Boys, that looks exactly the same as yesterday. They took the right front tyre off, grabbed the upright, gave it a rattle, and gave the signal. That's it. Same deal as yesterday.
Unbelievable.
More action. What's this one? This is Tander when the problem first revealed itself. So he's had to flick spin it down the end, and you can see the front wheel just wobbling around there, the front right. Here it is again. Surfing over the bumps and goes straight up Wakefield Street, turn 4, into the runoff area. Murphy's come in for his stop, leaves Whincup back in control, and here they are putting the car on the go, Jacks, to manoeuvre it back in.
And again, if you missed it, the lap that Jamie Whincup did just as all this drama unfolded, 122.35.
Yeah, mate, great laps ahead, please.
Here's a new lap record on this circuit.
Courtney's just done a very fast split to the end of the first sector at 28.8.
So aside from Team Kiwis, Kane Scott, the top guys are correct in order. Whincup leads Winterbottom. I'm telling you, you've got this about James Courtney. He's on a flyer.
Yep, he's just done a 48.9 to the second split. Those that have done both their stops, Tander, but of course he's in the garage at the moment. Stephen Richards has done tyres and fuel. Greg Murphy's done tyres and fuel. Lowndes has done tyres and fuel. Courtney's done just tyres. What's the lap time going to be for James Courtney? We're going to take a break. Whincup is the leader.
It was a 122.7.
No sign of rain on that horizon. Looking towards the west, that was. This is exiting turn 7 for the race leader. Race leader did his tyres on lap number 26. Scaife coming in now for his tyre stop. He did fuel on lap 30. Jason Richards done a fast split to the second sector. Now, the best placed car at this stage that's done both stops, I believe to be Stephen Richards. And he is 40 seconds off the race leader. And the race leader should be able to get in and do what he's got to do, which is grab fuel in about 34 seconds. Whincup just checking in with his team at the moment to make sure he's not driving harder than he needs to. He's got a 5.8 second margin over Whincup. So Whincup, Winterbottom, 5.7. And then it's another 6.4 back to Courtney, and then another 4.3 to Todd Kelly.
up as quick as you can, please.
Well, the compulsory pit stops have pretty much settled down now.
Down here with Garth Tander. Garth, seems like a similar problem to yesterday.
Yeah, it was a bit of a different circumstance. James Courtney sort of came through on the inside of me pretty aggressively, and his rear wheel hit my front wheel, and it broken something in the front. So, unfortunately, we're making pretty good progress up till then.
It's a hard weekend back for you.
Certainly has been. We've had very good speed, and like that race, obviously, we got through the pack pretty well, but yeah, we've got a few things to fix.
Very similar call to yesterday over the radio that it's gone over centre, possibly indicating you run a... Rattle guns are a fun part of motorsport, aren't they? You run a very interesting part of your anti-roll bar here. You mentioned on the radio it's possibly gone over centre. Is that what you think it is?
I don't know what it is. It feels very similar to what we had yesterday, but different circumstance of how we got it, so it's one of those things.
Hard luck, champ.
Thanks, mate.
And keeping in mind that, yes, James did go down the inside, but he went down the inside because Garth was hitting Steve Johnson at the time. So it wasn't a standard set of circumstances anyway. Just kind of thinking through what it all means in reality, because some people haven't taken the second stop here. The best placed car in the field at the moment that's done both stops is Stephen Richards. He's 14th, and he is 41 seconds behind Whincup, who should be able to come in at some point, grab his fuel, which he's not yet done, in about 34 seconds and rejoin. However, Winterbottom's about 7 seconds off the lead behind Whincup.
Yep.
And he is vulnerable to Stephen Richards and Craig Lowndes. So when Winterbottom does his stop, he'll be right in the middle of those two guys. And so that'll be one to watch as this race unfolds.
He'll be coming out of pit lane. Stephen Richards
right in the middle of that battle
should be coming shooting up pit straight, main straight. So this is Mark Scaife coming in.
Yeah, he's just done tyres, and they did fuel on lap 30. And Whincup's just at the moment managing, making sure that he doesn't actually push the car too hard when he doesn't need to.
Back we go on board our race leader.
This is a great opportunity for us to have a look and a listen at a good, hard, fast lap around this racetrack. We'll just get the effects up and listen and watch as this bloke does the business, and watch him use that sequential gearbox.
his own.
Great pace. That last lap we were riding with him, he did a 1 minute 22.8. It's only half a second off his best, which he did on lap 32.
Didn't see a soul that whole lap.
No, he's really got some pace. There's Andrew Jones, who's 10th at the moment. This is a great run in this car. Holden's for Brad Jones Racing and Team BOC for 2008. Wholesale change of equipment. Some new people. Wally Story, senior engineer, has been around for many years, involved with this team. Phil Curtis is actually engineering this car. It's only the first time, in fact, that Andrew's had the same engineer 2 years in a row.
Neil, you mentioned before that Jamie Whincup was just having a look at engine temps when he was behind in that battle with Mark Winterbottom. The temperature then was about 84 degrees. While not critical, amazingly it's dropped 10 degrees. Now the engine temp sitting on 74. Now he's in clean air.
This is the other fella that is doing a very, very impressive job this weekend. This car was the car that Craig Lowndes used to finish third in the championship last year. It's a 888 car that Paul Cruikshank has acquired, Glenford's Tools racing entry, and it's got the latest generation Stone Brothers racing engine in it. And Fabian really rocked along yesterday. He did a very quick lap. They made a little change to the chassis mid-race, smartened it up, and he was one of the fastest runners. Having a look at Scapes' car there. You can't see the number on the car because I'm assuming that Garth's car is still in the lane, in the pit garage, I should say.
Yeah.
Yes.
And perhaps the same problem. Gibbo's just zeroing in.
There's obviously something seriously weird going on there. Courtney, meantime, has done the fastest split to the end of the first sector. He's third on the road at the moment. I heard them speak to Mark and warn him that they confirmed over the radio that the problem for Garth was the same as yesterday. And here is Courtney, very quick to the first split, just taken up around turns 5 and 6. He didn't continue with that pace into the second sector split.
He changed his tyres on lap 30.
Mark Scape is describing having gone straight ahead. I think he's just locked a brake. He did nip a brake yesterday and damaged the tyre. He had to carry it for the whole race though. You asked me before about anti-roll bar controls. There they are, the big sticks that are to the left of James Courtney. What was the lap time for James? A 1 minute 22.8. That's pretty good. Whincup's done a 22.9. Winterbottom a 23.2. So sequential gear shift.
It's just a bit of tape. I think that was from the impact that he had earlier with Greg Murphy.
It's a bit of a Dorse around, I think, something like that. There was a bit of damage on the car. So there's a little sprung-loaded button on the top of those anti-roll bar controls. One of them controls the roll bar at the front, one at the rear, and it just controls the amount of body roll and momentum in the car, and you can either stiffen or soften the car. The safety car's being scrambled. We've got a problem around the circuit somewhere. Box, that means James is coming to the lane. They're going to put fuel in that car. And you'll see Whincup and Winterbottom do the same. Oh, Richo. Buried.
That's down at turn 11. Funnily enough, that was the same spot, remember, he went to in warm-up. Obviously didn't go in there with impact because he just pulled it away. I'm pretty sure that's exactly the same spot, but he's a little bit deeper here. The question is, how hard did he go in? Is there damage? How did it happen? The recovery guy's right on the scene, so he should be out of there quickly, and Jamie Whincup comes in for his second final compulsory stop for fuel.
They had a good look around the front to clear a bit of the leaf litter out of the radiator intake just above the splitter. Okay, so that was critical. He was in a good spot on the track as soon as they saw and heard the scramble of the safety car to come in, get processed and done, and Winterbottom too. That's what I wanted to see. So they've got their job done. And Courtney. Oh, this livens things up.
SBR went back-to-back. You might have seen just in the background there, Van Gisbergen straight in after Courtney.
They can't afford to leave him out because he'd just get absolutely sacrificed.
it's Ford Performance Racing just saying, unfortunately, driver error for Richo. No problem with the car. He just went off.
All right. We'll wait to see what type of impact it was, Barrett's. This is Jason Richards. Okay, Zinger replay, looking back towards turn 11.
That's almost a carbon copy of what we saw in the warm-up.
So no impact, you'd say. That's a pity. He was right up there, just running along. Typically, Richards.
He didn't play well for the leaders. They had the right track position, and Richo's back in now to get that gravel out of the front of the car and change the tyre set and get on with it. But they were able to get Whincup and Winterbottom in, process them, take on fuel for both of them.
Sending Panda back out, boys. They've rectified that, so the extended test run continues for them. And I'm not sure whether you cleared it up, Neil. It was pretty frantic down here. Just for Mark Scaife, they couldn't seem to sense a problem. They've put new tyres on the front and sent him back out.
Yeah, I did pick up that they had flat spotted one of the tyres, at least on that car. I think they were probably using it as a precaution to make sure something wasn't going to...
Exit clear. Come back in. It's a safety car, so we'll do the fuel. So pit now. We're just going to do that part of the CPS.
So even though Matt Nilsson knows that they're completely competitively out of sequence, if they don't do the compulsory fuel within the window, then he could still be black flagged and pulled off the racetrack, and that closes on lap 55 and we're on lap 44. So they're going to get that done, and then they'll fiddle with the car and see whether they can make a better mousetrap for later on.
Guys, each week the FPR boys write something on the team's tyres, on Stephen Richards' tyres this week. They've written it's a fine line between pleasure and pain. I reckon Richo might know that now.
Yeah. Well, Mark Winterbottom's still up there. He takes the fight to Jamie Whincup off the restart. So it's Whincup leading us away. Winterbottom second. Courtney is third. Correction, Lowndes is now third. Courtney fourth. Lee Holdsworth is fifth.
Just another thing to add to car one, they were investigating the incident between Garth Tander and Stephen Johnson, and subsequent to that, Garth Tander is now going to additionally have to serve a pit lane drive-through penalty for turning Stephen around at turn 9. So he's been in the pit lane, back in the garage, fixed the front suspension problem, gone back out. They've got to do a pit lane drive-through, and they're going to bring it back in and do fuel. So a few things to manage for them there.
A couple of guys to watch. Inside the top 10, Todd Kelly will come through turn 8 shortly. There he goes, in the black Jack Daniels racer. He's up to 6. Inside for Lowndes.
James is going to be the beneficiary. Courtney just grabs 2 easy spots there.
Winterbottom had nowhere to go.
Lowndes came down the dirty side of the road and was squeezed up on the curb. There was no grip there, and their speed at the apex was walking pace. They ran wide. Courtney and Holdsworth just bowled on through.
We saw it all, TV, mate. Just head down. There's still 33 laps to go. Long way to go.
Pretty good point. That has unleashed James Courtney on Jamie Whincup now. Every time I blink, the order changes. It's Whincup, Courtney and Holdsworth. Lowndes is 4th. Winterbottom is 5th. And Kemba Conville, the WOW Racing Team BOC car, 6th.
Well, there it is again in replay. And you can see that Craig eventually had to climb the curb on the right-hand side. Winterbottom could see him all the way, and he just kept opening the steering. Look at this, the dust and debris being swirled up from these cars because they're way off the race line. And in the end, they're at walking pace, completely off the track on the other side. So Winterbottom really did the right thing there, because if he turned in, he was going to have an accident. He just had to open the steering and let the space open up. Otherwise, there was going to be a problem.
And there's a problem right there for Andrew Thompson.
Ford Performance Racing up in arms, Neil, as you'd probably imagine. Team boss Tim Edwards is straight on the land. He sent a note up to the stewards.
Yeah, and Mark Scaife now into the pits too was complaining on the radio that it's turning left differently than it does right. He was after some steering trace data to be put into the car. They've parked it for the minute, boys. And Garth Tanner's just come through for a drive-through. I'll try and get onto that too.
Van Gisbergen and Murphy, a couple of Kiwis at it here on the run to turn 1, and you can't really do turn 1 side by side, so Greg prevails. Okay.
Take a breath.
Take a breath. What does it all mean in the universe? Windcup's got good car pace. Courtney has come arrowing through. He's only 3 seconds adrift. And Holdsworth continues to be the leading Holden, day 2 of that scenario.
Still 30-odd laps to go, though, in race 2 of the Clipsal 500. Remember, first across the line this afternoon is crowned the Clipsal champion. A bit of push and shove for the Fujitsu car of Jason Bright and Team BOC's Andrew Jones. Could have been a whole lot nastier. They're 13th and 14th on the road. And there's some... yeah, this is at FPR, so they've got problems with Stephen Richards' communications. This is how they're going to overcome them. Uh-oh, big trouble. On the main straight. How on earth did that happen? He's facing the wrong way.
It's Andrew Thompson facing the wrong way, I believe. Yes.
Car 50 into the wall on the right-hand side of the main straight. He's going to remove it, but look at the right rear.
That'll bring the safety car out.
Sorry about that.
For sure.
Safety car boards and flag, safety car standby.
There's the confirmation.
Safety car standing by.
And big damage on Paul Dumbrell's car here as well. Now this condenses the field. So the WPS safety car will pick up Jamie Whincup. This is Andrew Thompson facing the wrong way. Beyond the exit of turn 14, was he turned around or did he turn himself around on the outside ripple strip? I understand that he's actually been turned around by somebody else in the field.
Maybe you go back a couple of corners. There was some aggro with Andrew Jones in that mix as well. And Jason Bright, not pointing the finger. Let's see who the victim and the transgressor was. Oh, yeah. So Bright, whack. By now.
So it was the sprint gas car. It was the Tasman car that actually touched Thompson.
So
started with Andrew passing
with Andrew, yeah.
Jason, and they sort of locked horns and it got messy. And then one of the Tasman cars,
Jason Richards. Yeah, watch. Keep your eyes on Andrew Thompson because he loses it right there, and Jason Richards had nowhere to go but straight into him.
Yeah, no, Jason was just Jason in the wrong spot, in fact. There's a bit more to that story because Andrew Jones has just explained to his team that he picked up the throttle going into the final corner.
With 30 laps to go of the Clipsal 500 race 2, we've got a big problem on the main straight for Andrew Thompson. Paul Wheel Racing car number 50. He's not facing the right way. And he's had some major drama where he's found the side wall. This is the incident. You'll see here that Jason Wright and Andrew Jones are having their own little battle around turn 14. Right here, Thompson loses it, and Jason Richards in the Sprint Gas car number 3 had nowhere to go but straight into the rear corner of him.
The reason this happened is that Andrew Jones got both pedals in the car. That is, when he put his foot on the brake, he also got a tiny percentage of throttle. So he had what we call 2 turning and 2 burning. The rear wheels were driving the car, the front 2 were locked up a bit, and he's running wide. Jason Bright ends up being the berm on the outside. And Andrew Thompson sort of did that on his own, really. And because he had to put more right-hand steering lock on, when he's picked the throttle up, it's just looped around. Here he is coming back into the lane, and Jason Richards was the innocent bystander.
Good time for us to take a look at what's happened so far since the start of this race. Remember, Jamie Whincup started on pole position, but Mark Winterbottom looped around him. A brilliant start from Stephen Richards as well. Russell Ingall was trying to push his way through their midfield. In fact, Russell Ingall would get himself parked on the left-hand side of the main straight not too far later on. He was forced out on lap 7, that was. Rick Kelly down at turn 9. Lock up. Courtney has really been in the picture. Shane Price in car 11 dumped a whole heap of oil. That forced a restart. Jamie Whincup was attacking at the rear of Mark Winterbottom for quite a few laps, and in the end, Winterbottom played the sensible one, just pulled over because he knew he was coming. Here's a view of James Courtney around turn 9 with Mark Scaife. And also another incident down at turn 9 for Jason Richards, the Sprint Gas car number 3, forced to flick it out of there. So you can see where most of the action's taking place. Right here, Tander and Johnson, whack, whack, whack. Tander ended up suffering exactly the same problem, they think, as yesterday. Straight ahead at turn 7, he was forced to come in, and so too was his teammate Mark Scaife. So the Toll Holden Racing team are now out there effectively just having test runs. Stephen Richards went off down at turn 11. An inside move, aggressive one from Craig Lowndes, didn't do anyone any favours except for James Courtney. When he pushed through, that gave Courtney second position. Mark Winterbottom, a bit of an innocent victim there because he was left with no room to go, but to clear out. So that brings us to this stage, 29 laps to go, full course, yellow. Andrew Thompson's car number 50 has been put on the back of the truck. When we get a restart, Jamie Whincup will be holding off James Courtney. How's that for a bit of V8 Supercar action?
Whincup, for the 3rd time, has got to demonstrate how good he is at getting away when the safety car comes in and try to build up a gap instantly over Courtney.
Fascinating final third of this race. Who's got what left at the top? Whincup's got good pace. Greg Murphy's in pit lane. Courtney's got a lot left. His last stop was for fuel on lap 44. Exactly the same time as Whincup under that safety car. So
this is the 5th stop for Greg Murphy, and he was actually a fair way up the order.
don't forget, for our Kiwi viewers, we'll be coming your way to Hamilton for round 3 of the championship, April 18 to 20. For the Hamilton 400, really looking forward to that. Eastern Creek is the next stop. round 4 at Barbagallo in Perth. Sandown will host round 5, a sprint round. Then Darwin, Queensland Raceway, Winton Raceway, the Phillip Island L&H 500 in September, backed up by Bathurst, of course. And then we'll go to the streets of the Gold Coast, across to Bahrain, down to Tasmania, and finish it off on December 4 and 7 to Oran Park in Sydney. A little bit of racing still to come. About 6,000 Ks worth of racing and a touch they'll do.
You got your digital abacus out for that, didn't you?
That's why you don't believe me.
I believe you. We're going to go racing this lap. The lights are out on the WPS safety car.
Off we go again. Safety car's out of it. Jamie Whincup has control of the race from James Courtney. You'll see car 111, the Glenford's car, right there. The blue and pink livery of Fabian Coulthard. There's a little bit of toing and froing over the radios about this car that we need to confirm. Well, you can see it. His rear windscreen shattered. And Dick Johnson Racing has been making the point clear that it's flying debris out the back, therefore onto car 17, Stephen Johnson.
Race controller having a look at that now, and no doubt they'll pull it off the road. That's a shame. It's a weird thing too, how that's come about.
Well, he's been
look at this,
pretty clean, hasn't he?
There's a little ruling that has been invoked this weekend about cars approaching turn 8. Oh, and Lowndes again on the dirt on the inside. Come back to that yarn. He's locked the rear brakes. And this time it's Holdsworth out in the weeds. He's going to drop a heap of spots.
And what about how close that was for Mark Winterbottom to get the reverse back? Winterbottom almost cashed in on that move. Remember the last time it happened, Winterbottom was stuck.
Restarts are always a frantic time.
Rick Kelly's dropped back. He went off, I believe, at turn 9. Bit of a drag race for Rick. Up the main straight with Shane Van Gisbergen. This will be interesting. Kelly wins that battle. So that's position 9 now for Rick Kelly.
And black flag for car 1 remains outstanding for the driving infringement on Stephen Johnson early in the race. So that is the black flag for Garth Tander. And race controller just calling for that to be done again.
Boys are scampering down a pit lane to try and get us an answer on what happened to Fabian Coulthard, who's been having a terrific run. And I can't remember any incident that he's really been involved in.
McConville's, Courtney may have a puncture here, folks. So we'll have a look at this. James Courtney might have a puncture. But have a look at the run that Cam McConville's having in the WOW Racing Holden. He's flying. So Stone Brothers having a long, hard look at what's going on with the Stegbar entry for James Courtney. Sometimes cars after a restart can feel like they've got a flat tyre because they lose a little bit of pressure and they get pick up on the tyre. Can feel unstable, so Courtney was alarmed for some reason. They're saying, push on, mate.
Okay, mate, we've got you on TV. The tyres look okay at the moment.
His last lap was a 1:24.3, about a second slower than Jamie Whincup.
Dave Stewart and Wes McDougall there, senior engineers at Stone Brothers Racing.
Paul Krupchak, boys, thinks Fabian Coulthard's got a tap right square in the middle of the boot, and as it's come up off its hinges, the edges of the boot lid have actually punctured the back window.
Oh. And they may leave it out there, but I don't think so. But that incident at turn 14 where Andrew Thompson ended up round the wrong way and against the wall has been reviewed and no breach of the rules has been found. Courtney's still got pace here. I think it would have just felt strange after the restart. It's quite a common occurrence once you've lost a little bit of temperature and pressure, because as the tyres cool, the pressure drops again. The car can feel really ordinary for a half lap or lap, particularly if you've got the little bullets of rubber that it's picked up off the edge of the road. Can actually make the car feel like it's got no grip at all.
Neil, the Stone Brothers boys have just spotted the fact that that left front tyre of James Courtney's is leaking air. They want to bring him in, change both front tyres over.
Oh, there you go. He was the only guy in the top 7 over that last lap, Barretts, to do a 124. It's good news for Jamie Whincup.
I mean,
he's 1.8 seconds ahead.
There's no live tyre pressure telemetry, so they don't know that. So they don't know any more than we do. They're just looking and guessing. I reckon they've given James the option. It's up to him. If he feels it's dangerous, obviously you don't want to press on and have an accident. But at the moment, see, his sector split then was only 1/10 slower than Jamie Whincup's, unless he's got a flat spot, which is unsettling him.
Lowndes again.
In Formula One, for example, they do monitor tyre pressure. Indy Racing League, they do monitor tyre pressure, but very expensive systems required to do that. We don't have it in V8 Supercar.
See if he's going to come in this time around, or will he stay out? Did they give him the option, or was it a direction? He's going to keep punching.
We can see the tyre on TV, James. The tyre looks okay. I think it's the left front of our bodywork.
Where's McDougall?
No idea what you said.
And he can't hear a word. It's very difficult to listen to sentences in a race car. All you get are the key messages. You'll hear okay, or you'll hear pit, or you'll hear box, which is sometimes what they say. Conversations rarely work in the race car.
He's back into the 23s. That's the good news for James. But the bad news is that Jamie Whincup has increased his lead. It's now 2.3 seconds, and you can see as Whincup takes it down to turn 8, further back on the road, the guy who's now pressuring Courtney is the other Team Vodafone Triple Eight car of Lowndes. Then it's Mark Winterbottom. Kemba Conville doing a terrific job.
Look. He's getting a little touch there, and enough to shift him, but is it enough to... Oh, huge moment! Man. Lowndes, Winterbottom.
You okay, mate? You okay?
Yes, I am.
That's a massive, massive crash. Courtney, Winterbottom, Lowndes.
That's been coming since Thursday, when people were debating what's right and wrong with our racing rules.
You okay, mate?
If you could pick up in the tournament... It's been coming, that's all I want to say about that.
Mate. You okay? All good?
Yes.
That's Craig Lowndes you're listening to, talking to Jeremy Moore. He's okay, he's...
Bad luck, mate. Going strong there. Car's a bit damaged, so looks like us.
And Winterbottom's day has got all tangled up in that as well. James Courtney's car, massive, massive problems. Here's the Zinger replay. That's where the connection started. Crunch!
Well, no, it started going under brakes into turn 9. That's just the end of it. This just happens to be the full stop on the sentence. It started on the braking approach to turn 9.
Mark Winterbottom tried to go on the inside line there to escape all that mess, and in the end, had nowhere to go but into the Team Vodafone car. I was wondering how Winterbottom got caught up in it. My goodness. So Lowndes out of the car, Courtney's out of the car.
Cam McConville second.
Roland Dane, that is heartbreaking.
It's not what we wanted for sure. Yeah, there was a good race going on there, and unfortunately it's ended in tears there. Yeah.
We're sitting here watching the replay together. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, need to look at it a few more times to see what happened, but clearly Craig was faster than Courtney, and there comes a time when the slower guys got to just admit it and get out of the way.
It's hard for you too, being the team manager. We're looking on the monitors at a broken and wrecked car and making sure your driver, Craig Lowndes, is okay. Yet at the same time, we're talking to James Dutton, making sure he's on the radio to tell Jamie Whincup to be clear of the debris, because we're still under the chance of winning this thing.
Well, of course. I mean, there's nothing we can do about the 888 car at the moment. The 88 car is still going round, and as long as Craig's fine, then we've got to get on with the rest of the game.
Thanks, Roland.
Okay.
Right, Mark Winterbottom, tough luck out there. What exactly happened?
Oh, well, Lowndes and Courtney are out there banging around, and when they spin in front of you, got nowhere to go. But I think it's got to have a good look at our driving standards prosecutor, who yesterday deemed some racing moves legal, and if he's going to come down and fix our car for us next week, well, we'll abide by the rules. But that's a lot of damage for not much good.
All right, mate. Thanks, Frosty.
The frustrations are now laid on the table, aren't they? A big clean-up job to do down at that point of the circuit. We've lost 3 cars out of this race as a result of that. Craig Lowndes, James Courtney and Mark Winterbottom are now out of the picture. Jamie Whincup, Cam McConville and Lee Holdsworth now make up our top 3.
Right, radio check. Go.
What a messy situation and a mess they've left behind.
There's too much push and shove. It's just that simple.
The upside is a big one for Cam McConville, up to second. So while they're snaking around, let's take you through the order. Jamie Whincup first, Cameron McConville second, Lee Holdsworth third, Todd Kelly is fourth. Fabian Coulthard, car 111, is fifth. Then Stephen Johnson, Rick Kelly, Shane Van Gisbergen, Jason Bright and Jason Richards, the top 10. Greg Murphy, Michael Caruso from Gary Rogers Motorsport is in 12th. Tony D'Alberto, the Fujitsu Series winner from 07, is 13th. Andrew Jones, Marcus Marshall, Kane Scott, and Stephen Richards take us down to 17th. From there, it's a story of heartbreak and broken cars. And some other guys still out there effectively just getting laps of testing done. Probably take a while for them to remove all the debris, not to mention cars, from the incident spot. 20 laps to go now. In terms of the championship points, Jamie Whincup is on course to grab the maximum, 300.
Have a drink before the weekend, mate.
Lee Holdsworth, where he is right now, has 249 from yesterday and today. And Stephen Johnson looking at a good haul too of 204. 20 laps to go, that'll still change. Mark Winterbottom mentioned the driver standards observer. It's Thomas Mazira this year. He's been doing that same job in Carrera Cup Porsche category. And now he replaces Colin Bond. How's that for your first weekend? There's also Chase Cam that you might have heard Neil mention. The new onboard camera technology that replaces the older in-cars. It'll be used by the judiciary, and it's in addition to our broadcast in-car cameras. Basically, it's a flash card. They get to download it, so they'll be looking at a whole stack of vision when they review that situation between Lowndes and Courtney. It's been a spectacular weekend weather-wise here in South Australia. A little bit of rain early on, but now it's crystal clear. We've now got 20 laps to go of race 2 of the Clipsal 500. Still full course yellow under safety car conditions.
James Courtney, you're back in the garage. First things first, you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. No dramas.
Second of all, freedom of speech rules are in place. Feel free to speak.
Yeah, it's just disappointing Craig did that. He's been running into the back guys into there all day today when I was driving around behind him. He did it to Winterbottom and then to Holsworth, and then he did it to me, and then he got up beside me on the exit. And then he just thought he could turn down into me. I don't know if he thought he was superior to everyone and I had to back out of his way or what, but I was down there, I was on the inside of him, he was on the outside, and he just turned down into me, and we hit, and then we both ended up going out.
You'd like to go down and have a chat, or what's the story?
I don't know. I'm sure Roland's going to be unhappy with him, so we'll see what happens.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Just noticed there too on that replay, the big concrete block showed you the impact. It moved it.
You know, this is this part of a series of things that have happened this weekend. I'm not going to lay the blame at any one driver's feet. I'm going to lay the blame at the fact that the guidelines for what's right and wrong in what's an acceptable pass at the moment are too vague. And that's the reason why the Thursday pre-season briefing turned into a hot air gab fest that wasted everybody's time.
So what are we left with? Jamie Whincup leading from Cameron McConville.
Craig Lowndes back here in pit lane. Craig, just tell us about what happened out there.
Yeah, not good standing here talking to you. It's a bit of a shame. The car was working really, really well for us today, and I think Jamie's out there still leading the race, so that's a good thing for us. But yeah, had a bad start, and I was sort of making up positions as the race went on. And you know, those last couple of restarts, we had a really good car, and I was attacking quite sort of hard to try and make up some time. It's you know, it looks like Courtney was struggling with Riz. I don't know what was going on because he was sort of locking up tyres sort of here and there. We sort of had a run down into the hairpin. He ran a bit wide. I got a good run up the inside of him. Look, I've got to have a good look at the incident because I felt that we had a good overlap over him, and we sort of tried to give him some room and sort of go around that kink, and then obviously contact in the back corner and you know, turn me around. I think Courtney went in, and poor old Frosty was the bystander that got caught up in it all.
Lowndesy, already there's talk about driving standards. Is there something there we need to look at?
Well, it's always difficult on a street circuit. You've got no room for error. So when you have contact with other cars, you're going to end up with a wall. So that's probably a given for a street circuit like this. On a normal circuit, probably if that incident happened, we both would have probably spun off the track, got going again, and poor old Frosty wouldn't have got caught up in it. So it's just hard with this nature of circuit.
Lowndesy, hard way to end the day for a brand new car.
Yeah, I suppose it's been run in.
That's heartbreaking, mate.
Well, it is. It's something that's, you know, for the boys, done a lot of work over Christmas to get the cars up and running, and, you know, this is the best preparation leading to a season we've had. And last year we had a bad Adelaide with some sort of niggling problems. You know, yesterday we had a few little things, but as I said, today, you know, both cars, you know, were running very strong, and, you know, we had a bad start. That was my problem, but we're working our way back.
All right, Lowndesy, good to see you, mate. Good to see you in one piece. You are all okay?
Yeah, fine. I'm ready to go again. Can we start again tomorrow?
Good idea. Thanks, mate.
Thanks.
I think you'd be able to start. I don't know about your car right now because it's a little bit of a mess, but mess is the operative word, both on the track and what's been left behind. So, here's how it stands. Whincup, McConville, Holdsworth, 1, 2 and 3. Todd Kelly, Fabian Coulthard, Stephen Johnson, Rick Kelly, Van Gisbergen, Bright and Jason Richards are our top 10. Restart. Off we go. 18 laps to go. Stephen Johnson has decided I will take over from Fabian Coulthard straight away. So Johnson goes from 6th to 5th in the blink of an eye. So the questions are, what has Whincup got at the front? What has Cameron McConville, who's putting in a stellar performance for his new team in his new car, got to battle him? And Lee Holdsworth, who's been one of the real achievers this weekend, is in third. A little bit wide here for Van Gisbergen. Jason Bright slots through. 4 wide coming out of turn 4. Look at that. Van Gisbergen, Bright, Fabian Coulthard. Unbelievable. And Greg Murphy in there. Now 3 wide down to turn 9. Oh, you get nervous.
Quite a few of them did a great job then of getting through turn 8 side by side. Jason Bright was up on the outside and managed to hold his ground.
Geez, Murph has really bought into that argument big time. There's a slot by Stephen Richards.
And when Stephen was in the pit lane before, they took the opportunity to try and fix his radio coupling.
So Greg Murphy went from 11th to 9th. Van Gisbergen drops down to 7th, and Rick Kelly is now in front of Van Gisbergen behind Stephen Johnson.
Thought there may have been some intervention with the glass situation on the back of Fabian's car, but we haven't heard anything further to that.
I tell you what, mate, they're crawling all over him. Look at him. Straight away off the restart, Stephen Johnson lined him up, and look at car 111, Fabian Coulthard. He just continues to drift down. He's now down to about 15th or 16th or more.
He's been bundled. He was as high as 5th, Fabian Coulthard.
I reckon he's down about 18th now.
Hey, I think I heard something about brakes. That was about all I picked up out of that.
So Stephen Richards goes through. That's the all-black car of Team Kiwis, Kane Scott, Tony D'Alberto, Marcus Marshall. So 3 full-time newcomers. Then Fabian Coulthard, who's clearly got problems with the Glenford's Racing entry.
Look.
Andrew Jones on Michael Caruso.
Just spoke to Kurt down here with the stewards, guys in pit lane. Mind you, Coulthard's car's coming in right now, but they're saying, no, it's fine, it's eligible to run. Looks like they're parking it though, boys. I'll run up there and check what's going on. There's also heated arguments here, words, with Adrian Burgess from Dick Johnson Racing saying, get onto it to Schenk. And I'm going to try and find out what the bottom of this is. He was about to storm up to race control and get some call a car excluded. Hang on.
They're saying that Stephen Johnson was overlapping on the restart, and that's why they've given him a pit lane drive-through penalty. Clearly, Adrian doesn't agree with it at the moment. It's a judge of fact issue, unfortunately. It's one of those that you can't fight. And the brakes are jammed on Fabian's car, and it's cooked the brakes, I think. So the pedal's down on the floor, but the brakes are activated. So something weird going on in the brake system on the car. I'm surprised, really, given that there was glass coming out the back of that car and other competitors were complaining about it, that it's still okay to run, but that's the ruling. The boys have had to think about it on the pit wall as Kurt Suzuki and Frank Adamson, Steve Brow down there, they know what they're looking at.
What about the turnaround for Cameron McConville? Coming into this weekend, he'd only finished the Sunday race here at Clipsal twice out of 8 attempts. Now he's lined up with 15 laps to go to put his new team with their new manufacturer and new sponsors on the podium.
He's going punch for punch with Whincup. Matty Crawford, who was the engineer for Todd Kelly at the Holden Racing team in the last few years, said to me in the garages at Brad Jones Racing this morning, these guys are a whisker away. He said it's just a whisker is all they need to get the adjustments right on this car, and they'll be a factor. Well, that was absolutely spot on. And when you race at the front and you're clear of some of the crazy stuff, it's amazing how you can pick up a bit of pace. And Cam is absolutely trading identical times with Jamie Whincup.
Adrian Burgess is down here from Dick Johnson Racing talking to the stewards.
With the car, and they don't believe that it's a valid excuse for the overlap.
Well, just look at Channel 7's coverage. It's pretty obvious. He's just retired. He pulled out of the way. Yeah. What are we meant to do? We're not meant to stop behind him and punch him off, are we?
No, the stewards have looked at the footage, they've reviewed it, and that's their call.
Adrian, tell me, what was the initial incident you were worried about?
Sorry, mate.
The initial incident you're worried about?
We just got to drive through. It's not our fault. Coulthard's got an obvious problem. We try to get the decision changed. They won't change it.
Yeah, I can know exactly what's happening here. Fabian's car was going slow, and so Stephen felt compelled to get on with it. And if another car is going slow and the driver has indicated, you can pass him. But if Fabian was busy on the radio and had other problems, he won't have waved Stephen by. So they've pinged Johnson for an overlap, overlapping a disabled car.
At the restart.
At the restart. That's right. The reason why Adrian's on fire. And that was Kurt Suzuki from V8 Supercar saying, mate, I'm sorry, the stewards have looked at it and that's the ruling. Unfortunately, Kurt's the messenger.
And that's just going to cruel.
That's a pretty tough call. I don't think they've fully grasped what's happened there. That's a bad call.
I was waiting for the comeback there from Stephen Johnson.
The problem is they've taken it at face value. They've looked out the window and gone, oh, there's an overlap. They're not aware of the fact that the other cars had a problem.
Well, Stephen Johnson was top 5.
It's an unfortunate bad call, and it has taken him out of the day.
The silence in pit lane says it all for the Jim Beam Racing crew and car 17. Jamie Whincup has the race lead with 13 laps to go. Oh, that's just a bad call.
McConville's taken 2/10 out of Whincup in the second sector split. He's got enough pace in this car at the moment that he could threaten Whincup to reverse the order.
Wouldn't that be something? Because remember, whoever finishes first here on Sunday is crowned the Clipsal champion, regardless of overall points.
He's just 1.3 seconds away from Whincup at the control line on the last lap, Cam McConville.
To be honest, I don't know how Stephen Johnson kept his cool when told about that, because
it'd be very frustrating, and well, we may not have heard it all.
It's probably good we didn't.
And it's one of those things. One of the problems is, give a plug for us, is that in race control, they only have our pictures. They don't have all of our information.
Well, this will show it aerially. So you're looking for Fabian Coulthard's car. See a little gap there, right? So Fabian Coulthard's car's in a lot of trouble. The white car to the left of screen, that's the control line right there.
Yeah, but it says they've interpreted as no overlap. You're not allowed to overlap. It's not a control line issue. It's the overlap. Problem is, Fabian's car was not running properly, and a lap later they retired it because the brake system was jammed on it. And he would not have had time to get his hand out, the signal, hand up, whatever, wave him by.
.1 seconds is the difference between first and second. Looking through some of the names up here in the top 10. Good save by Sprint Gas Racing. The all-Kiwi pairing of Greg Murphy and Jason Richards. Both of them have been in the wars at one stage or another. Murphy 7th, Jason Richards 8th. Greg started from position 10, Jason from 13th. That's the gap. This time around, it'll be 10 laps to go. It's a 1.16 second difference between Jamie Whincup and Cameron McConville. As always, at the completion of this round, jump onto bigpondsport.com and you'll get a full download of everything that's happened. Believe me, it'll be there for a while because a lot has happened. So Jamie Whincup, 10 laps to go. Stephen Johnson has served his drive-through penalty that Dick Johnson Racing are clearly unhappy about. Whincup here is on track to have 300 championship points if he can hold off this man, Cam McConville, who's had now 112 starts in the V8 Supercar Championship. He's had only one race win in his career, and that was 4 years ago at Winton. If he can make up a second and a bit, wouldn't that be some kind of start?
Very impressive lap speed, 1:22.9 for Whincup. A little bit slower that time for McConville, 23.4, but he has been able to run with him in the recent past. 23.3 for Lee Holdsworth, 23.4 for Todd Kelly. And there's Todd in the background in the Jack Daniels Holden 4th. Shane Van Gisbergen is 5th. Rick Kelly, Greg Murphy, who's had a tough day and 5 pit stops, is in the top 10 in 7th. Oh, someone had a big moment then.
Sounded nasty, didn't
it? Something weird occurred then. There was definitely something odd in the background.
A lot of weird has occurred today.
Yeah. Someone's got a tyre flying apart. Problem at turn 8, is it? Yes.
Yeah.
Which car?
There you go, D'Alberto. Rod Nash Racing, front left. He's getting around there with no rubber on that.
They may have to deploy the safety car. They will.
To the right, pit lane exit there, just pull up to a halt. Make sure
the Zinger replay shows it fling off on the entry to turn 8.
Probably had some prior warning, thankfully.
And that's dangerous. He's done a good job to save it. Whincup versus McConville, Holdsworth, Kelly. They're all in there. How's your nerves? It's going to be a mad dash to the finish.
It's the reason why the foot tyre's gone flat. The wheel itself has machined itself into two pieces. So there's the wheel sectioned in half. So something under the car, the bolt on the lower control arm, on the steering arm, steering tie rod has sliced straight into the rim.
I can't see anything. I have a look under the back.
Oh, that would have been hairy. Just trying to see why Cam McConville has gone from first to third, which he has. Sorry, from second to third. So Lee Holdsworth has pushed up into second. Safety cars had a few starts today. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
As he accelerates away and creates a gap between himself.
Off they go again with 7 laps remaining now, and there has been a change. Jamie Whincup is still the leader, but Lee Holdsworth is now second. Cam McConville has pushed back to third. Still not sure where that happened. Sort of snuck up on us. Get the boys to try and get the word from either Gary Rogers Motorsport or Brad Jones Racing, but the order is this: Whincup, Holdsworth, McConville, Todd Kelly there, Shane Van Gisbergen, Rick Kelly, Greg Murphy and Jason Richards 7th and 8th for Sprint Gas Racing. Jason Bright 9th. Michael Caruso in car 34, the other GRM entry, is top 10.
Boys, Sorry, mate. Sorry, Matty. Just been down to BOC, mate. Spoke to Brad Jones. The reason for that, they think Cam McConville was out-braked on the straight out of turn 8 just before the safety car came out.
Okay. It'll be something to do with what we heard in the background before, and there was a glimpse, I reckon, of the Team BOC car, our racing car, in an awkward spot. So it was up on the western end of the circuit there, and we heard something odd. We had the discussion about something weird occurring. I reckon that's what's gone on there.
There's some rock-solid performances here. Todd Kelly's one of them. Van Gisbergen's certainly the other. Rick Kelly. Stephen Johnson is back up to 10th. So he's gained a spot at the expense of Michael Caruso. So we're on lap 72. Whincup has been holding them at bay. At times while all hell has broken loose on the streets around him. Don't you reckon Gary Rogers will be pleased beyond belief with the performance of Lee Holdsworth this weekend? Even more so if he can get one more position.
Someone's in the fence. There's a problem at turn 8. Someone's in the fence, and it is Paul Dumbrell.
So He's gone in at 8. He's ended up basically halfway between turn 8 and 9.
Safety car boards and flag, safety car boards and flag. We have a car off, exit of turn 8, car off, exit of turn 8, left-hand side.
Obviously a very dangerous position there at the exit of the sweeper. So these guys will have to back right off by the time they get around there. Another safety car, can you believe it? The 7th of the day. The first came out on lap 4, and it's been pretty consistently in control. This is Paul Dumbrell, the Autobahn. Oh dear, ouch. Oh man, that's scary.
That happened right in front of Mark Scaife, who was straight on the radio to explain what happened. Looked like something failed in the front of that car before he got there. Yep. Considering the issues they've had in the sister operation, I wonder whether something's broken.
I think that first shot that we saw highlighted it better.
It didn't look anything like a normal approach.
Yep. So you can see the smoke coming out of the front right. My initial thought, Neil, was that something gave way on the left on the
way.
Look at
this, this is the shot.
There you go. Bang, on the front left there.
Something's let go before he got there.
So Paul Dumbrell is out of the car. That's a good sign, especially in that part of the circuit. Jamie Whincup leads the race, but the WPS Chrysler safety car has control. So the question now is, how quickly can they get car 16 out of the way? Because they're on the 4th last lap right now. Around they come, so it's going to be touch and go, isn't it, to get a restart. Can't remember the last one we finished under safety car. Check that out. Shows you how much of an impact that was for Paul Dumbrell. That's down at 8. There's his car still on the track. The truck's there. That's good news. They'll get it on pretty quickly. And there's a little escape route. They'll probably just take it straight ahead down to the runoff at turn 9.
They didn't check carefully enough because this thing sliced its second rim. It's got a problem either on the steering rod end or lower control arm, something, and it's eating into the rim, and that's the second rim they've chopped in half. They're lucky not to have lost a car out of this. Machined itself clean in half.
So this is the order. Whincup, Holdsworth, McConville, Kelly, Todd, that is, in 4th. Shane Van Gisbergen is 5th. And that is currently his highest race finish position. His best before that was 12th at the Gold Coast and 12th in race 1 here. So for all our Kiwi fans watching on TV3, it's been a good job by the 18-year-old. And also Greg Murphy and Jason Richards in the picture for the top 10 as well. Good time to say good day to our viewers in Bahrain as well, and right across the world, in fact. I'm exhausted.
That kind of race, isn't it? There's been so much go on. The guy that they've not been able to dislodge, though, is Jamie Whincup. Yeah. He's just been rock solid all weekend.
It always gets me, Cromley, with him that in situations like this, he's so mature for a 25-year-old. So this will explain the Cameron McConville going to second, from second to third. Okay, so obviously he went a bit wide there, and Lee Holdsworth ducked on in. My point about Jamie Whincup was that he manages to hold off all of these challenges. Feel like a 2-lap dash?
I'm up for it.
Here it comes. You're a brave man. The 7th restart. 2 laps to go of the Clipsal 500. Jamie Whincup is our race leader. Lee Holdsworth is 2nd. Cameron McConville is 3rd. Todd Kelly, car number 7, 4th. Shane Van Gisbergen, the 18-year-old Kiwi, right up there inside the top 5 for the first time in his young career. Rick Kelly wants a piece of it. Greg Murphy, Jason Richards. But they've all got to round up one man who has been rock solid, and that is Jamie Whincup. The winner of race 1 has not been upset at all by the chops and changes and crashes and safety cars and everything they've thrown at him. This Team Vodafone car has been fast. This 25-year-old driver has been very mature.
He has done a brilliant job this weekend. Cameron McConville's got pressure from Todd Kelly. These guys are fighting for the Clipsal 500 podium.
That's right, first across the line is the Clipsal 500 champion, regardless of points. It just so happens that the man at the front has all the points at the moment. He's got one more lap. That's the key, says marked up. Turn 8, 3.2 kilometres to go.
They're encouraging Todd Kelly at the moment to try and do something special into turn 9. Looks like Whincup's got enough of a break here. 3/4 of a second or near enough over the line last time. Oh, a little moment there for Todd. The car just skipped wide on him as he tried to turn it in at turn 6. Van Gisbergen ready to pounce.
This is it, fastest point of the circuit. The Dunlop sweeper. Millimetres in it. Now turn 9, the one that Neil mentioned. It's clean for the man at the front. He controls the Team Vodafone 888 Falcon beautifully. It's been such a performance from Jamie Whincup. A double whammy to start the season. In fact, that is the perfect start. Couldn't have been any better.
Fantastic drive, Jamie Whincup.